So the meeting is being live streamed, recording now, and then the billboard.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, good evening, good night, or good morning to all of you. And we are so pleased to have people in this meeting from all parts of the world in different time zones. And we are in Grenada. I am Shakira Muhammad from Trinidad and Tobago, a teacher for the past 15 years. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the 221st edition of our ICC Thought Leaders Forum. We wish to sincerely thank all of you who have contributed in whatever way to the success of this ongoing Pan-Indo-Caribbean and Pan-Indian Diaspora Global Project. For 220 unbroken continuous weeks, we have been here every single Sunday. And in the past 4 years, 3 months, and 1 week, we have featured 1,019 presenters from all parts of the world speaking on 220 topics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly forum being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, a legally registered research and publishing company operating since 2010. And in order to continue this weekly program and to make it bigger and better, we are kindly asking for suggestions as well as volunteers. If you give a donation, your name will be placed on our poster and all promotional materials. So you can contact Dr. Kumar Mahabir for details. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our moderator, who is Shalama Mohammed, the co-director of this ICC Zoom platform, who is a business teacher and researcher from Trinidad and Tobago. She obtained her master's degree in business psychology from Franklin University in the USA. Shalama, welcome. Shalama.
Yeah, Shakira, thank you so much. We're still trying to sort out a few things in here, so my apologies. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Namaste. We warmly welcome you from the beautiful Grenada, the Spice Isle. And while we are here, and what we are doing today is highlighting the experiences of our Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center touring Grenada. So before we get started, really, I'd just like to say that we are recording on Zoom, and this program is being live streamed on the YouTube channel of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. Hi to all of you on YouTube at this time. To avoid intrusions from trolls, by now you all know that our IT manager has muted everyone. So please don't admit anyone, don't unmute anyone, and don't allow anyone to share your screen, please. Thanks so much for your cooperation. We started this diasporic initiative in Trinidad and went to Suriname last year. So this is our third annual nonprofit ICC tour. For the past few days, we've been celebrating the Spice Islands' diversity, culture, and history. Next year at this time, we may be either in Guyana or South Africa. We're still toying with which one we want to go with, and of course, we have to work out the logistics and so on before we make an announcement. So we'll be here until Wednesday, and in the next few days, we have left to do snorkeling activity where we go to the underwater museum park, touring the island, but by boat. We'll also be celebrating Raksha Bandhan on one of the smaller islands off the coast of Grenada, where we exchange, Rakis in celebration of brotherly love and protection. We'll be visiting that beach across there as well. We went to Gem yesterday, where some of our participants are staying, and they had a great time on the beach. We'll be going as well to Movie Palace to see the movie titled Doubles, which is produced and directed by Professor Ian Harnarine, who's here with us and his family. So we have quite a few things in store again as we bring this tour to a close. And for those of you all who miss it, you really have missed out, I think. It really would have been wonderful to have you back here with us, but maybe next year. So I want to bring on our first speaker now to give you a little bit of insight into her experiences on this particular tour. Let me introduce you to Roselyn Khan Cummings. This is the first time she's with us. She's a former diplomat and senior executive in international affairs and was reappointed as a member of the Elections and Boundaries Commission of Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, Roselyn. Go ahead with your presentation, please.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all the listeners and viewers. I'm just going to give some reflections on so far. At the outset, I would like to express my appreciation to the executive members of the ICC and to other persons who have made this tour possible. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Rose.
Yeah, okay. All right. So visiting Grenada was high on my wish list, as it is the ancestral home of my maternal grandfather. So when I heard about this tour, I grabbed the opportunity, and luckily I was allowed to be a late entrant to the team. The hospitality has been very warm and very welcoming from the moment we arrived at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. Shadell of Belmont Estates greeted us together with Miss Roach of the Grenada Tourism Authority. On the first day, we did more or less settle in, and then we had dinner at the famous True Blue Bay Street Food Festival. It provided the most fitting ambience on the seafront, which gave us a taste of what was to come. On the second day, that's when we started our main schedule of activities. We had the ICC was invited to celebrate the 70th anniversary of India's independence. There was a flag raising ceremony which was organized by the High Commissioner of India, which is based in Trinidad and Tobago, with the support of the representatives of the Indian community here in Grenada. The event was well attended by representatives of the government of Grenada, members of the civil society, and members of the diasporic community. I think there are approximately 3,000 Indo-Grenadians, and the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation was recently established with the hope of increasing communication and collaboration among the Indo-Grenadians here. There are also professionals and academics who teach at the St. George's University, which I think is focused on medical training. There are also a few Indian businessmen who are resident here who are involved in general merchandise and involved in small-scale activities. The councillor, Mr. Jairam of the High Commission, in his address, outlined areas of technical and economic cooperation with Grenada. The High Commission has a long history of providing training to increase the technical capacity of citizens and to enhance cooperation and collaboration. Capacity building under ITEC, Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, has been a main feature of cooperation with CARICOM countries. The number of Grenadians invited this year, I think, has been increased from 5 to 10 annually, with training in IT, management, and small and medium enterprise development. I myself was the beneficiary of training at the Administrative Staff College in Hyderabad in 1991, which was specially designed for senior diplomats of the Caribbean, of the Commonwealth actually, because we had people from all over 53 countries of the Commonwealth. And this training did increase my effectiveness as a representative of Trinidad and Tobago in the international forum. So I'm a testament to that kind of training. It really is very useful and very professional. We got some of the best professors, people from Harvard University, people resident in India, and was well attended. It was over a month. Yeah. So at this event, the Minister of the Honorable Joseph Andal represented Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell and addressed the gathering. He mentioned the technical assistance and the infrastructural development works being offered to Grenada, including the soon-to-be inaugurated Union Community Center in St. Mark's at an estimated cost of $610,000 US and a Bellevue Road project at around $300,000 US. You also mentioned other areas of cooperation and development. Grenada has made, they recently appointed a non-resident High Commissioner to India. That means he will be based here in Grenada, but he will make several visits to India. So we also we had a lot of cultural performances and some singing, dancing, and I think Mr. Prashant towards the end, Mr. Prashant, who's who's from India here, who's resident, who has his own temple set up in his house because there's none existing in Grenada. He gave the vote of thanks, and of course we were treated to cultural performances, delicious food and refreshments at the end. So I think Meena, my colleague, she's going to continue to give us more commentary on some of the things that happened in the day. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for that summary, Roselyn. I think you captured a great deal of the people who were there. And yes, indeed, we are now going to bring on Mien Jairam Pandey, who is a retired pharmacist assistant and yoga instructor. She's from Suriname. Her husband, Jie Bessa Pandey, was there with us at our first tour. We went to his country in Suriname last year, celebrated his birthday with him, and we had the pleasure of meeting Mien. So here she is with us. Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Grenada. I want to share my experience on this Indo-Canadian tour with you. I am enjoying being part of this ICC tour with you, with all the participants. I felt so honored being present at the 78th Independence Day of India in Grenada. It was our first event attending the flag ceremony. It was held on a football field in St. George. The MC was Dr. Celia Ramdhani, and she did also a beautiful Indian dance. And yes. And then next photo, please. Oh. You will see a photo of all the officials who had spoke on the day. Next one. This is Mr. Raju Sharma, Consular of the Indian High Commission in Port of Spain. Okay. I want to share my feelings when oh yeah, this is the photo of all the officials who spoke on that day. I want to share my feelings on the moment when the national anthem starts. And I was looking to all the persons who was there. There was persons of Trinidad, Suriname, Grenada, Guyana. And I thought on that moment how all the years ago, our grandparents who came on all these countries to work to hard it was for them, and how hard it was for them, and how we all are gathered here and singing the national anthem of India. It was for me a special moment and a very emotional moment also. And that is what I want to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mien. I know you wanted to say a little bit more, but you kind of cut it short. Mien, let me ask you, having gone to the flag hoisting ceremony, do you feel that the Indian presence in Grenada was well represented?
Yes, I saw. It is different for me because in Suriname you have more Indian people than here. So it was, I cannot say yes or no. Here you have less, Suriname you have more. In Trinidad is also different, you have a lot of them. But it was a special moment just here because I didn't even know that there was also Indian people. And when you organize the tour, then I understand they here are also Indian people. Just that I felt very special to be here and
Right.
share the moments with everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
How did the flag hoisting ceremony differ from that in Suriname?
It is the same. I went often to the ceremony in Suriname when they have it on 15 August. And it is the same. They have, yes, I think it is universal. This flag ceremony is the same. After that, we have bhajans and we stay there. And you have also dance. They sing also songs and bhajans. But I never felt the same what I have felt here. It was different. I think because it was international. That is the difference.
So do you think it had to do, when you say it felt international, is it because you feel that there were people on this tour from another country that added to that international feel? Or is it just because members in the audience were also a lot of them from India rather than Indo-Grenadian?
I think both. It was both. That I say I was looking around and it was the first time I was somewhere else with the Independence Day, and that was the feeling, the connection with everyone. It was so many countries both there together.
Wonderful. Thank you. So Rehana Lal Mohammed wants to say hello to you. Rehana, go ahead. Unmute your mic, please.
Yes, sir. Unmute.
Rehana, you're still muted. Can you unmute? There we
Yes.
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mrs. Gangaram Pandey.
Thank
Yeah, I'm Rihanna Lau Mohammed, daughter of and Aisa Lau Mohammed, and cousin of Sunita Rambokus, and
Oh,
Radha was today here. So
okay.
it's no coincidence you're here, I think. So it's very
Yes.
nice seeing you there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you mentioned the feeling you had, and you were really a tourist right now in Grenada, and Suriname is your own country. So it's different if you're there. Everybody knows you, and now you were a host, and that's a great experience, I think, for you being there. Very
Yeah.
good. Very
Thank,
nice you've been there.
yeah.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
So Rehana, on the next tour, I hope you join us.
Why not?
Exactly.
Sure.
Terrific. All right, take care. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on now. Thank you so much, Mien. We'll move on now to a song by Jie Bessa. She's the Vice President of the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation and Marketing Executive at the beautiful Belmont Estate in the village of Hermitage in St. Patrick, Grenada, where we had an experience of fine dining after an entire tour of the Indian areas or the villages that the Indians were mostly domiciled at. So, Daryl, can we have that, please?
He's singing again. You're good, Gil, you're good.
So JD thought she couldn't do it because she just didn't know the words and the pronunciation. They don't speak Hindi here or Sarnami for that matter. But there she was, and she did a fantastic job. We were trying to get her to come on the program today and to sing again. Unfortunately, she was caught up with work because Belmont Estate is an extraordinary place and so very busy today. They were facilitating us, a large group, and They also had about 3 other groups at the same time. So you're looking at about 100 people, maybe more, I don't know, all at the same time, coming there to tour their estate, which is essentially a cocoa estate where they manufacture chocolates. They also have the entire process. For those of you all, Dr. Thomas, if you remember the whole process of cocoa harvesting, drying, and then processing and so on, that's what they do. Dr. Thomas, if you remember our visit in 2016 to Grenada, I'm sure you did. Unfortunately, the big tree with the bell, it went down in the hurricane recently, so the bell is no longer there, but at the same time, she kept it. It's now like a museum relic. So Shadell would have liked to be here today. Shadell Nayak Compton is one of our co-organizers here on the ground. And she's largely responsible for what is happening in the Indo-Grenadian community in terms of keeping the people together. She, along with several members of the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation. So we want to bring another piece by JD. Daryl, do you have another song from JD? I think you should have 2 items. Can we get that, please, if you do? Oh, I'm not seeing anything coming up. Daryl, can you respond? Okay, maybe he has only one.
I only have one, sorry.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, so in any event, JD sang beautifully. You wouldn't believe it. We would have liked to highlight her further. However, we'll move on now to Pandit Robbie. He is a math teacher at a secondary school in Trinidad, a hiker and cultural activist. And despite the fact that he's been to Grenada many years ago and on more than one occasion, he chose to return with us, and we'd like to hear why. Rob?
Namaste, assalamu alaikum. As Shalima said, yes, I came here 20 years ago. Actually, I was supposed to be in Europe all now, a 7-city tour of Europe. However, when the ICC said that they come into Grenada, it was no, I didn't have to think twice. All right? I mean, if everyone is familiar with the world affairs and the politics of the world, you would realize many conflicts in this world is over religion or ideologies. Now, the ICC is unique, and it's a model for the entire world where we have persons, not only of different religions, but people of different religions, and within their religion, they have a different sect. And we at the ICC, and when I say we, I take ownership of this thing, because everyone here is part of one big family. And I mean, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have Muslims of different groups, Shiite, Sunni, Ahmadiyya, anything that people would label them as. But we have Hindus, that's Arya Samaj, Sanatanists. We have Christians, Protestant, probably Catholic. We have people of all different faiths who in the world, they may see differences with each other. But with the ICC, with the love of culture, it has united us. It has made us more spiritual. And not just with words there, because people say a lot of words. We have been going to mosques, temples, mandirs, churches, and we are going there, and we are expressing our spirituality. We are going to worship. We are seeing that divinity that is reflected in our hearts in these institutions. So I'll begin with the first slide here, where we attended this mosque or masjid, and it was amazing to see that Grenada, with such a small population of Muslims, the mosque was basically full. So the attendance of Muslims to this I mean, this was a working week, and they came out from the various workplaces because the men came in there. You could see that they were coming from work, and they filled the mandir, you know, and the structure. You normally see this in Trinidad as well, the green and the white. Although Trinidad may have some gold in the moss, you know. Next, you know, and this is the madrasa, the Talim ul Islam. This is a school where they teach Islam to the children, like a maktab class that they have. And this is not, the plan is for this to be a school as well, a secondary school, so that I mean, for a small community, they are doing great things. And even in the service, we saw that a lot of children who came and attended the school, attended the service, and this was nice. Even the imam giving the khutbah. I'm not sure if he's an imam, but he definitely is someone who is, with his sermon he gave, and he didn't read anything. He did his khutbah from his head, and it was well received, and everyone seemed to be attentive. Even the children were paying attention, which means that there was some substance to what he was saying. So this is just a picture, and the ground was well carpeted and air conditioned, and it was really comfortable to be in there. All right, see the men, see how the numbers became huge. Filter capacity. I think when I come back here, they may have a bigger mosque because they need to expand. And we saw people of different races as well. Many of the local Grenadians and even some people from Trinidad were there who are working in Grenada. So the level of unity displayed in the Juma was very admirable, you know. So this is something I'm glad to see happen. When I came to Grenada 20 years ago, I didn't come in the capacity of the ICC. I came to do some hiking, and I must say there's a lot of development both in financial, physical, and even spiritual in Grenada. Because my job to talk here is on this aspect. So I am seeing great things happening with regard to spirituality in Grenada. Right? So it's such a small world where I can meet the younger brother of a teacher of mine who taught me at Astor Boys College. And although this teacher was, he's of the Sai Baba faith, and he's Muslim. His brother is here, and his brother is very prominently featured in the society in Grenada. His son is a senator. And it was such a small world to meet my teachers, who's also a friend of mine, his brother, you know. And I think the history that SM Jalil, which is a very popular soft drink company, had a branch in Grenada. Although the company closed down a long time ago, it brought a lot of Trinidadians to Grenada to work, and now they're quite settled, and they have a life, and they have their families here. So we have a lot of links to Grenada. You see, and he's in the middle there. And Shalima's dad, we call him Papi, he's there. And it's such a wonderful thing to really, it was a nostalgic experience for Mr. Azan. He really recalled the times in Trinidad, and Papi would really share his memories well. All right, here we have the mandir, and I gave the sermon or the khutbah, you could call it, in the mandir. We call it the Gyan aspect of the visit to the mandir. It is at the home of Mr. Prashant Shirkani, and we see the murtis here. Such a beautiful area. You could swear you were in India. I was explaining murti means mirror, reflecting that divinity within you. So all the members that went, everybody went to the mandir home of Mr. Shirkani, and within themselves reflected the spirituality and the religious traditions that they belong. And it was so nice to see Hindu presence as well, not just an Islamic presence, but a Hindu presence in Grenada. And they are expanding. They have formed an organization, Hindu organization, Hindu Association of Grenadians. And maybe when I come back, which should be shortly, I don't know, we will see a greater expansion. And I, as a Hindu Pandit, I can assist, whatever I can assist. I've given them the assurance, not only myself, but I did speak to a couple of young pundits as well, and they are willing to also come and assist in any way they can to this noble organization that is now forming. You know, we have other pictures of the mandir there. We have the lingam, which represents the universe. And the universe is so huge. But when people in this world belong to their own bubble, they separate themselves and think that we are separate. But in this vast universe, the world is just a dot, and Trinidad and the Caribbean is just a dot. And yet we think ourselves as separate. But the whole purpose of yoga and spirituality is to unite. So these symbols represent unity. And the ICC reflects this unity, both socially, because when we come on these tours, we are all equal. We are all one family, as I mentioned, one parivar. And all these institutions we visit shows how much we can learn from each other and how similar we are. Because that's why I mentioned initially about separation and seeing differences causes these conflicts in the world. But at the ICC, we don't see differences. We celebrate differences and similarity, and we see differences as an opportunity to learn from each other. You know, and of course I have to show when we went to the temple, Mr. Shirkani, he had lovely, lovely Indian snacks for us. And I have to find a bottle of this and take it back to Trinidad, you know, because this was delicious with the samosas. I have to get some pulori in Trinidad and try this with it. It was really, really tasty, you know. And there was we were supposed to carry a dolak as well, the Indian drum to Grenada, but unfortunately we weren't able. And Mr. Shirkani's neighbor, I think her name is Auntie Doll. Yes, Auntie Dolly, she gave us a dolak because it was broken. So what I plan to do, I will fix it. And when I'm back in Grenada, I'll bring it to her new brand. So I'll surprise her. I didn't tell her that yet, but I'll surprise her with that. All right. And it was nice to have it, and we were playing it. And yeah, it was, I taped it up with medical tape. That's the only tape I had. I didn't have duct tape, nothing. Medical tape I using to tape it. So we were happy, and we playing to the maxi, going on the road and singing all these film songs, and Chowtal singing we're doing, and I think Shalima was also a voice. It was real. It was just a one. I mean, this is a what we would call a dharmic party, a party of spirituality. This is what we have with the ICC. All right. So this dolak is really instrumental in helping us rediscover ourselves. And I was mentioned as a teacher. I was asking people, I say, these songs that you all are singing, I just have, when I'm growing up, I probably heard once or twice. Mr. Muhammad Kesab ji, I mean, he knows all these songs. And I am hoping that I could take this tradition, but we have many traditions of these songs and Indian music, which has the lyrics are so powerful and so romantic, and take it to the next generation of children and teach them, use it in my classroom and integrate it into my curriculum, so that there's so much culture, rich Indian history and culture is so rich to give the next generation of children who are listening to a lot of nonsense on the airways, some sort of a culture and positivity that could help them in their daily lives. All right, and look, we start here, Miss Bessa. We all troubling she and telling her she knows Miss Kamala Prasad Bessa, the last Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You know, so she has the name, she shares the name of the Prime Minister. And she's the doppelganger of a teacher of mine who works with me. So such a small world, and her voice is amazing.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yes. So we're hoping that we forge links. She has asked me to run a class in Hinduism, and I'm planning to teach the class to a Western audience, because she's Christian and she wants to learn about the culture. And I could share information on Islam, I share information on Hinduism, and they are the Grenadian people are thirsty for knowledge. They're thirsty for finding out what is this Indian culture about. It's not only about food. Food is important and integral. It's about the music. It's about the religion. It's about the spirituality. It's about so many things, the dress, and they are all interested. And we at the ICC, we are going to be the catalyst to give Grenada a touch of Indian culture, a touch of Trinidad culture, a touch of Surinamese culture, a touch of Guyanese culture. Because we have developed the Indian culture in the diaspora, in the Gilmitia countries, and we're going to come together and the ICC, the catalyst to strengthen Indian culture around the globe. So we're working in tandem with India as well. India doing everything. We working too as well. And we're going to make this thing, and we're going to be the gem of the world once more. All right. So this is the goal, I think. This is the goal of the ICC, and I think how it is with divinity. We are not doing this by joke and by mistake. We have the blessing of God in the work that we are doing. This is not by guess. We could have been anywhere else in the world, but I find myself in a beach in Grenada enjoying the water. You see, look, Mr. Muhammad Kesab Ji, we have an African Indian here, all right? And he is a library of knowledge. You could talk to him on anything. And this is one of the reasons myself and Simon and Jai and all of us here came, because we wanted to imbibe the darshan of this goodly gentleman. He has a conversation for every topic you ask him. I believe me, I asked him some hard question. I'm a critic of Gandhi. All right. I respect Gandhi, but speaking to him, I have more respect for Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, because he has answered questions I have not found in books. I'll put it like that. And believe me, if you're not in Grenada, where you at, right? You have to be here. All these ICC members, all they come in every week, or they have to come and join us. And we definitely go in South Africa, right? We're on our way to South Africa next year. We have booked the flight, but we're on our way, right? We're on our way. We are 1 foot out the door in South Africa already, so we go in. All right, and I hope that you all can join us. You see, we have, yes, Shalima is holding the mic there. We're giving, right? Miss Missy in there. So this is a wonderful. Look at these paintings, right? It's always nice. This is a tradition we had in Trinidad. I see it here, where the religious paintings will be hand painted. It gives a more personal approach. As I took a picture of this with the Lakshmi long time in Trinidad, these were not bought from India. They were actually painted in Trinidad. All the mandirs had paintings of the Devis and Devatas, and this is this is very spiritual to me. I had to take a picture of this to show that it was if somebody did this painting, and it brings a more personal touch to the reflection of the divinity that is embodied by the photo, by the drawing. All right, see, we have the crew here eagerly awaiting the program to start and enjoying themselves. It was a lovely cool afternoon in the area, and it was so nice to take part in this activity. Oh yes, and we have the Presbyterian church that we went to this morning as well. It was damaged with the hurricane. And the new building is, I think that used to be the cemetery. So built the church in the cemetery. And the Presbyterian church, a lot of my Presbyterian friends and family, they're so excited I could come in Grenada and sing or take part in their activities here. And it was amazing that they have a link with Trinidad, although they were started with the Greyfriars of Scotland and not the Canadians, right? With Reverend Morton. But there are links, and we were so happy to come this morning and take part in this service. You know, and when I saw this, I was just blown away. This organ that you would see, I was telling them about, you will see these things in movies, and you will see these things in cathedrals in New York and America and television shows. And it was too bad we can't show a video, but it was played beautifully by the gentleman who insisted he took a picture with the Dolak as well. And they am I performing. You know, I sang a bhajan. Masiki Jai 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 Mere Dil Mein Hai. I'm asking that divine Lord to come into my heart and bring peace and bring love to me and to this world, and to play in this bhajan, this Christian Hindi hymn or bhajan was something historical. It's not really popular in Trinidad anymore. But to take it there, and my Presbyterian friends are telling me that they're going to try back some of the old bhajans in the book.
If you want to sing it now.
You want to sing it now? Well, I'm going to do it. All right. Masiki Jai 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 Mere Dil Mein Hai, Mere Dil Mein Hai, Mere Dil Mein Hai, Masiki Jai 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 Mere Dil Mein Hai. Uski ho taarif, मासी की शांति शांति मेरे दिल में है, मेरे दिल में है, मेरे दिल में है, मासी की शांति शांति मेरे दिल में है, उसकी हो तारीफ, मासी की आनंद आनंद मेरे दिल में है, मेरे दिल में है, मेरे दिल में है, मासी की आनंद आनंद मेरे दिल में है, उसकी हो तारीफ. Remember, Anand is happiness, Shanti is peace. And this is what we need in this world, right? This is what we need in Mere Dil Mein Hai, my heart. If the hearts of men in this world, especially leaders in this world, are really filled with peace and divinity and happiness, there wouldn't be no war. There wouldn't be any war and conflict in this world for any reason, for political, for religious, for geographic, for anything. See, the Reverend there is he said he was in awe and wonder. He was in shocked to see we sing and we explain it in English, Reverend Osbert James, Dr. Osbert James, and this is, and they were even the organ player, the young man was telling me he told me to sing something in Hindi that he didn't understand, and when I explained it in English, he was so impressed, and he saw the spirituality in his song now. He probably only hearing chutney or something from Trinidad or something, but when he heard that it has such a spiritual meaning, he was impressed and he was able to imbibe the spirituality of the song. And I'm glad I left an impact. And when the service was finished, they started to play some Lakshmi bhajans, believe me. All right, some Diwali bhajans they were playing, and I was so impressed that I probably the first time they may play a bhajan in any church in the world. All right, so this was groundbreaking and testimony to the power of the ICC in changing the world and making the world more peaceful and promoting ahimsa in the eyes of Gandhi, non-violence, because that is what will save this world, violence. You don't fight war to make peace. You're making peace to make peace. All right? All right, I think that was the last of the last of the slide, and I must say I really thank the ICT team for the opportunity to bring these few words and to show the religious aspect. There's so many things to talk, but I just bring in this aspect to it because I like to talk, right? All right. Namaste, Sitaram, Assalamu alaikum, Bendegi Sahib.
Thank you very much, Robbie. Some people with me here cracking up over you liking to talk. And ladies and gentlemen, he likes to sing too. And he was also instrumental. Thank you very, very much, Robbie. You introduced that Bholak from Miss Dolly Singh, who was so sweet. She was so kind to give it to us. And I think she didn't give it to us because it was broken, Rob. I think she gave it to us because it was out of the goodness of her heart and she wanted us to enjoy ourselves. So,
well, she had this big, I don't know, it's like the dog she had in the yard, I don't know what color it was matching the grass. And it was huge. It was just mixed with cane or something. I was chanting, I prayed in Monday, but I was praying more by she house because I was real afraid of that dog,
okay, she's hearing, I'm sure she's hearing you, and I'm sure she will be able to, I'm sure she'll be able to agree next time we meet her. Hopefully it will be at another one of the singing sessions. So thank you so much, and I want to move on now to, I want to introduce you all actually to some of the other participants on the team who came together to do a lovely 3-minute medley of songs. So, Daryl, while you cue that up, ladies and gentlemen, here is Niala Says Kausalya, and I think you will see Sue Kumari in here, and you might also be seeing Shanti in here. Daryl, can we have that, please? Yes.
मेरा दिल है फूल तुम्ही पता नहीं कब आएगी तू बीते जाए जिंदगानी कब आएगी तू चलिया तू चलिया कोई जब राह न पाए मेरे संग आए कि पग पग दीप जलाए मेरे दोस्ती मेरा प्यार मेरे दोस्ती मेरा प्यार कोई जब राह न पाए मेरे संग आए कि पग पग दीप जलाए मेरे दोस्ती मेरा प्यार मेरे दोस्ती मेरा प्यार जिंदगी है सफर है सुहाना यहाँ कल क्या हो किसने जाना जिंदगी एक सफर है सुहाना यहाँ कल क्या हो किसने जाना अरे अगले अगले हो अगले अगले हो अगले अगले हो अगले 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 हो अगले अगले हो रुला के गया सपना मेरा रुला के गया सपना मेरा बैठे हो कब हो सवेरा रुला के गया सपना मेरा
So the singing team is here live, but ladies, I have to tell you, hats off, hats off. I loved it. Thank you so much. We bring them again, hopefully. I just want to bring on now Simon Dore. Simon has been with us from inception. Simon is kind of like the logistics manager sort of thing. And he's going to share a little bit with you about his experience. Simon is an entrepreneur in the construction and aggregate sector. He was an employee at Carney 1975 Limited, our sugar industry that shut down. And you can also chat with him about agriculture if you have to. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you, Shalima. Namaste, Salaam Alaikum, greetings to everyone. My talk today is on my experiences in Grenada with the spices and the fruits and the vegetables. So this was at the market Saturday morning in the major market in Grenada where lots of spices are sold. Some of the spices are here: nutmeg, elaichi,
mace.
Mace, that's the outside shell of the nutmeg, and
Pimento as well. Just all spice.
pimento. All these spices are used in making tea and punches and different herbs and medicinal values, etc. Grenada is considered the spice island of the Caribbean with lots of spices as well. I myself was amazingly surprised at the amount of spices, every corner, all over the island spices. We went to the nutmeg processing factory where nutmeg is being bought and processed. We had a whole lengthy discussion on that, how the nutmeg is being purchased, how it is dried in different, how it is selected in different grades and sold at different prices on the market. That is one of the main spice of this island, nutmeg, together with the bark.
Cinnamon.
cinnamon bark. That is the two main spice of this island. So, next, this is the need tree. During the hurricane last 20 years on the Grenada island, Hurricane Ivan, the Indian government sent a lot of seeds to Grenada to plant the need tree, which has a root system to hold the mountains together from soil erosion. So this tree was planted in large amounts in Grenada, one, to hold the soil together. Two, the leaves is ground to make an insecticide, a natural insecticide for plants. So it's not chemical, it's not a large toxic chemical. It could be used just so, and it keep away insects, and it is good. The fruits is good to eat. It is organic. It is also used widely in a lot of Hindu prayers. This is corn. This is roast corn, which we found at the market yesterday. Fresh corn, which was grown in Grenada. Put it on the fire, on the coal pot, with coals underneath, lighting coals, and you keep turning it for a couple minutes until it is properly cooked. It also have boiled corn. Corn is used in so many ways in this island. Long time we knew about something they call chili bibi and corn cuckoo and corn porridge, roast corn, boiled corn, and it is now our very famous curry corn, right? This is some of the spices and at the Belmont Estate. We have here sugarcane, which was planted on this island in large amounts in the last 200 years, where they had the sugar factories, and they used to grind those canes and bring it in juice and then process it to make sugar. And then we have, this is the spice stick, which is a cinnamon stick, which is sold same way like this. They grind it also to a powder form. This is some limes, which is used to make juice, and you can use it to wash meat and fish, etc. And we have the small pumpsite here, which is grown in small trees, which we use also to make juice, chow, and all those things. And that is our famous nutmeg here, in the shell and out of the shell. And here we have chenet, which is locally known in Grenada as skinner. That's our local Grenada word for chenet. This one here is called one finger. We all know about the five finger. This is one finger, which is used. It could be eaten just like this, or they use it to make achar also. And this is our cashew nut here, cashew nuts. Cocoa, that's our cocoa, which we use to make chocolate. That is nuni. You all know about nuni. Long time, a couple of years ago, it was very famous. And we're coming now to the bowl. Oh, okay, the sugar apple. We have sugar apple here. And this is the green calabash and the dry calabash. It is used, they cut it in half and half and clean out the inside, and it is used a long time for a bowl or a plate to eat food in. And many years ago, they had a technique in cutting a small hole in it and scraping out the inside cleaning it properly and using it to carry water to the estate. So each worker would have their bowlie and clean it out properly and full water in it so they would have the drinking waters. They didn't have bottles. Bottles wasn't so accessible at the time to carry water to work. And this is the 5 finger, and which you see earlier on, you saw the 1 finger.
Sour cherry.
Sour cherry here, we have the sweet cherry, and this is the sour cherry, which is used to make achar, and it can be eaten lesser. Coconut, dry coconut.
Dry coconut.
And this is our dry coconut, which we know from all over, is used in so many ways. The fiber long time they used to use the fiber to wash wares. The jelly, the water could be drunk. The jelly is used in so many ways. And in whole dry coconut is also used in Hindu prayers. This, some of you all who are old like me would know the donkey eye. The donkey eye which you rub on the concrete and you touch someone and it gives them a slight burning to their skin. Some more herbs and spices and vegetables here. This is the largest ginger I have ever seen. It is very, very big. For the size, it is extremely huge. I was surprised to see the size of ginger in Grenada. That is the neem leaf. Lemon we have there. Mango. Grenada has a different type of body, a very long, thin body. Dry pigeon peas we have there. And we have okras, pimento. And we have karaili, bitter karaili. This is, some of us may know this as jingi, but I think they also call it chichinda. That is the right name for this brand of it. We have carapula leaf there, which is used in the curry.
This one is
Carapula leaf there.
Okay.
This is the organic cocoa balls at Belmont Estate. Now, a long time we know of the big cocoa block, which we used to grind and grate and put in your tea, and the tea used to be oily on top, and you add your cow milk or your powder milk or whatnot. This you get it now to buy in ball, and you put it in boiling water and it melts. So yeah, we still have the option. They have big blocks at Belmont Estate. You could buy it to grate, or you could buy it in this form and put it in boiling water. The melongeon or the baigan or the eggplant, what we saw is a bit different here. It is more round and not as long as the one with what we commonly know as, but it is soft in texture and cooked the same way. We usually cook baigan with dal puri or baigan and aloo with rice or those type of things. Next stage, we have some squash pumpkin.
Sorry.
Next thing, you have some squash pumpkin, which we cook also, and you could use that in making punches, pumpkin cake, pumpkin pie, etc. That's it, and thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Simon. That was quite a detailed description of everything that we saw at the Belmont Estate on that table. You have Nafisa cracking up here when you were talking about the cocoa. So she just reminded us about when you make cocoa tea, all that fat in the cocoa would stay like cheese if you didn't wash the cup at the same time.
But I know Nafisa. Nafisa is waiting for guavas from my garden as usual.
It's true. Thanks so much. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we want to move on now. I want you to hear from Mr. Sat Sukhdev. This is the second time he's on tour with us. He's an electrical engineer and businessman. He's got interests in the energy and environment sector. So he's going to talk a little bit about the environment as well, just completing some of what Simon was sharing. Sat? Go ahead, please.
Namaste and good afternoon to everyone. My thoughts reminisce a little bit on the kinds of challenges that the indentured people faced and what the energy situation is now in Grenada. When they came on sailing ships, so they used wind energy. We all got on to Piaco on a 737 Boeing Max that using jet fuel. So we can see how as the centuries changed, the energy patterns changed. And when they came here, the indentured people had to come from the larger harbors in small schooners. And they had to walk inland many miles to go to the estates that they were indentured to. And I would imagine in the early days, life on the estate, they would use many forms of indigenous energy that they could find, such as coals to cook and firewood. And they would use whatever was available, whatever form was available to them. And we all know that energy affects everything. When the price of energy goes up, the cost of living goes up, the price of everything is affected. Now in our time, as the century has changed, we are hearing about things like climate change. We are hearing about sustainable development. We are hearing about energy transition. But I would say on those estates where they lived sustainably. They lived sustainably with everything that they could find in nature. And they had very little pollution, and they created very little waste. But as time went on and the energy systems changed, now if we look at what is happening in Grenada, is that Grenada has still maintained as a small tropical island. The island is about 120 square miles in size. And it has 3 islands that constitute this island that you're seeing here. Recently, now we are talking about climate change. 2 months ago, a hurricane named Beryl smashed the island of Carriacou, which is one of the small islands of Grenada. And this hurricane was able to form so rapidly in the Caribbean that even the meteorologists were shocked because of the warmth of the water in the sea. And they are attributing this to global warming. So you can see the challenges that small island developing states are now being faced with. But Grenada has still maintained has still managed to preserve and maintain a very beautiful environment, as we can see some of the plants and flowers that they have. And what is happening now on the island as regards energy? Most of the electricity that is produced from fossil fuels. They produce about 53 megawatts of electricity, which is quite small, and 96% of it is produced from fossil fuels. And there is a great move, and there's an international funding scheme coming to them to try to move towards solar energy, wind, and other sustainable forms. But solar energy is still very expensive. I was doing some research, and it's showing that it costs about $3,100 EC to install 1 kilowatt of solar energy. So it's beyond the range of the price of the average person. And it will take many years to switch the energy systems in Grenada. What is happening here also is that all the fuel is imported. All the fuel which is used as gasoline is imported. And there are many yachts who sail the Caribbean, as you can see in the background, who come here to buy fuel for their transatlantic and inter-Caribbean journeys. Now, many of these yachts also have sails that they use as supplemental sources of energy. So there's no immediate transition yet in Grenada to alternate and renewable energies. There are 3 geothermal projects that are being planned where, as you know, geothermal is where water is poured into hot rocks and the steam. Now here you can see the beauty of the island, how they still preserve the environment, and the steam is used for energy. So I think the challenges that are facing, I would say also that Grenada is what's called carbon neutral. There's a lot of talk now about carbon neutrality, which means that you are able to offset the amount of carbon that you put into the atmosphere from fossil fuels. You are able to offset that by your forests and your greenery. We know recently you had heard how Guyana was selling carbon credits because they were able to say they have so much forest that is generating so much oxygen that they're able to offset the amount of carbon dioxide that they put in the atmosphere. So I would say that Grenada has a very small carbon footprint. I would say even that they are carbon neutral, that all the carbon dioxide that is put from their cars and other equipment into the air is being offset by the natural environment. And you can see how they have still maintained the beauty of the environment. And one of the issues that is also happening is that they are switching a lot of the utensils that they use in public places, like plastic forks and spoons. They are making them from wood now, wooden forks and spoons. So they wouldn't have that amount of buildup of plastic. And our bus driver, Mr. Mandu, was telling us that he is very much involved in trying to get recycling going. And I told him that in Trinidad, we have some small machines that can grind plastic. And what we are doing in Trinidad is we are making blocks from this plastic that we are recycling. And I think as regards sustainable development, I have to commend the management of the Belmont estate in that they have still managed to keep a very integrated, sustainable ecosystem together. If you look at what's happening in those days when the intent was, donkeys were one of the main forms of transport. And a donkey, I mean, was very valuable to people in those days to carry cocoa and to carry produce out of the estates. And I was amazed that in the Belmont estate, they're still keeping donkeys. They have a lot of goats, they have a lot of sheep, and a lot of these animals produce natural fertilizers that can be used into the soil. And Simon was telling us about the extent of the neem trees that are there that could be used as a natural pesticide. So small island states like Grenada, now they're facing a lot of challenges, especially with global warming, with rising sea levels, with more and more powerful and more frequent hurricanes, because this Hurricane Beryl astounded everybody with its speed, its ferocity, and the speed with which it formed and moved through and shredded the entire island of Carriacou. Also, there were some other islands to the north of it that belonged to St. Vincent. They were shredded also. As to the prices of gasoline on the island, 1 liter of gasoline here I calculated would cost about 10 TT dollars, while in Trinidad we would pay in the region of about $6 for a liter. So gasoline is somewhat more expensive here. And they pay about 50 cents US for a kilowatt hour of energy, which we pay in Trinidad, you know, luckily, I mean, still we don't know how long it will last. We pay about 8 cents US for a kilowatt hour of energy. But they're trying to bring costs down. The government is doing everything. They're getting a lot of international funding, hoping to bring some solar projects into play. But as I said, these are quite still expensive. So it's an ongoing process. There are a lot of challenges in the energy and in the environment. And because Grenada wants to keep itself as a tourist economy, they have to pay very, very close attention to the environment so that there's not much pollution and there's not much waste discarded wherever you go in the island, so that they want to keep, as we would say, the island clean. They want to keep the island green. They want to keep the island crime-free. This is Shalima here with a nutmeg tree, right? This is the spice of Grenada, and they have, imagine now, they have over 7,000 small nutmeg farmers still existing in the island. And I would believe a lot of them still have sustainable agricultural practices. So the island is still, I would say, a tropical paradise. It's still green. The forests, the slopes of the mountains are still heavily forested, exuding oxygen, making them carbon neutral. The harbors are full of yachts, people who come here. And I was doing some reading where there are strict rules that the yachts cannot dump their pollutants in the harbors here. They have to bring their garbage on land, and they have to have properly functioning engines so that we don't have a large amount of oil slicks in the bays. And if you watch where the yachts are, you'll see the sea is very still clean and green. So tourism could be a blessing and it could be a curse depending on how it is managed. And I think Grenada is moving ahead very quickly to manage their environment and their energy issues. And let's hope it stays that way so that they can still be, as they describe themselves, as a gem of the Caribbean, where people can come and enjoy everything, and at the same time being an environmentally beautiful island that will soon meet a lot of its needs, at least maybe 40% through what we call renewable energy. So that's what I have to say. If anybody has any questions or any comments that they want to, make some comments.
Excellent, Sat. We could always depend on you, this Indo-Trini businessman, for a very analytical presentation of the economy of Grenada. Anybody has any questions? Feel free to raise your hand. Sat shares his knowledge quite openly, and we could not depend on anybody else better than him to do this research. And obviously, it is his area of interest. So that's one of the reasons why we have the tour. People come in with all kinds of different interests, and we hope to have you, members of the audience, and those, we record this for posterity, as you know, so you get the benefit of the information that they want to share. So I'm not seeing any raised hands, so I'll take it that we have no questions right now. Maybe it was a bit too comprehensive, Sat. But
that's okay. We'll continue to work here.
No, it was actually fantastic because no one else is able to give your perspective on this particular Grenadian situation, especially in the post-Beryl Grenada. And I think this is information that perhaps the Grenadian Minister of Trade might find very useful. So thank you very much for doing this.
Okay.
Great. So ladies and gentlemen, we move from a terrific analysis from a businessman to an analysis by one of the youngest members of our group. Let me introduce you to Mujahid Ali, one of our youngest participants. He toured Suriname with us last year, and he's back here in Grenada with his grandmom, Nafisa, who has been with us. This is the third time she's coming with us. So Mujahid is a 15-year-old secondary school student from Trinidad. Mujahid, go ahead, please.
Hi, good day, everyone. I'm basically gonna be talking about my experience on this trip so far with the Grenadian part, and I'm very excited to tell all you what are my thoughts. So to start off, Mr. Daryl is screen sharing, but we have the mall. I really like this mall. I find like it was a mall that was close to the market and close to the church, and it was a real welcoming feeling, and it was around a Presbyterian presence. So as I say, it was close to the church. So yeah, and the shops inside of there, it had some shops for tourists, and like the food court was good. It had this store that sell fries and chicken and thing, and that was good. Yeah. So this was the Nutmeg Museum. This was one of the plants. The tour guide there, I find my experience with this was really nice. The tour guide there was very helpful with everything. He showed us how they just take the nutmeg and put it they just put it in water and then they just put it to dry and they just use like this shovel to like smash it up and like extract the seed from it, and then they just use this to use for all kind of different stuff and like creams and medicines and food and stuff like that. Yeah, those are some of the various types of nutmeg and a little bit of the harvesting process. So yeah, that was really good. Right, so there's the chocolate from the chocolate factory in Belmont, Belmont Estate. I really like this because this was my first time going to a place where they does make like chocolate and um a cocoa I forget the name of it. A cocoa estate, right? And it was from since the 1700s. This country has been growing cocoa and making chocolate, and we get to see the entire process with the machines and the mixers. That is some of the different chocolate it had. We had samples to try. We had like spicy chocolate. It had creamy caramel. It had ginger, fudge, oil down, zesty lemongrass, pure white chocolate. It had some chocolates with distinctive island flavors. Well, like the ones I just named. And then it had some like absolute like 100% dark chocolate. And some was pure white, 45% cocoa. And it had samples there. So I really enjoyed this. It was a big learning experience. The images kind of mix up, so but this was the church we visited this morning. It was my first time going to a church actually. It was a weird experience because I didn't expect it. I didn't expect certain things, like getting up to sing and stuff. But it it was cool, and a lot of the information we could have referenced it from the Quran as well. And it was a enjoyable experience, especially where the church was. It was it had a lot of buildings and stuff around it, and the whole place just looked real beautiful. Right. Well, this was the savannah we went to where they celebrated India's Independence Day. I know someone else covered this, but this was this was okay. It had food there, which I enjoyed. And yeah, and right, so that's Robbie and well, sorry, Mr. Robbie and Auntie Shalama. And well, yeah, that was a great experience. Yeah. Right, so there's the tunnel. I really like this tunnel because the architecture and the nature around the tunnel. I really like this tunnel. I want to go through that tunnel. So apparently it burrows through the hill to reach Bruce Street, and the rest of St. George's. And it was built for like horses and stuff like that back in like the 1800s. But now cars and pedestrians is just past through it. And you can like go up the stairs to I think it had like a hill or a waterfall or something. And yeah, so this was the chocolate factory again. There's like the mixing process of the chocolate and the dark chocolate. Yeah, so they like leave it in there for like 3 months and stuff to age. And yeah, this was real cool seeing the machines in action, and the smell inside there was it was real high. So yeah. I think it have more. No, we don't have no more. It don't have video, you know, but all right. Oh wait, no, that was the video. Oh, all right. Never mind.
Jahid, are you
Yeah.
done? Are you
Yeah,
done?
I done. Yeah, I done, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, I want you to, since food is so important to you, I want you to just share with everybody which food experience was the most impressive for you on all the days that we were here.
I think I would say Belmont Estate because not because Auntie just tell me, it's because I actually like the food. And yeah, we get like roti there, fried fish. I think it had like provisions and like vegetables, and I think it was just real packed with flavor, and it was real nice. Or like the first time we came here, we went by this bar and it had the buffet and then fried wings and macaroni pie and the vegetable rice. I find that tastes real good. I really like that.
Anything you want to say? Any comments about the ice cream, the desserts, and so?
Oh well, when we went to the Belmont Estate, I didn't eat any ice cream. So,
What about the cake?
but the juice there was real nice.
Which juice did you have?
That was some real good juice. It was ginger and what was it? It was ginger and something with ginger and lime, I think. Ginger and lime.
Probably, yeah. And they had a mango lime too. Did you try that?
No, I didn't try that, but I hear it was real good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell the audience about how you feel being here right now?
Well, school starting back just now, so I just trying to live out the rest of my vacation to the fullest. And I'm happy to be here in Grenada with all you and exploring this country and going out every day and doing stuff. And it's very educational, and I like the experience so far.
Excellent. Thank you, son. So there we have Mujahid Ali. He's not the youngest actually. He is 15. Yeah, we have Ariana Balkisoon, who is our youngest, and Ariana actually helped a few people well with their PowerPoint presentations for today. So yay to you too, Ariana. So ladies and gentlemen, let me bring on now another speaker, and this is Muhammad Kesab, who is the African Indian with us. He's originally from East Africa. He lives in London. He's an international cross-cultural specialist in peace, human rights, education, and mediation with a focus on Islamic law and alternative dispute resolution. You all know him. He's always in the audience almost every single week. MK made the long journey from London to Trinidad. He spent about 5 days with us in Trinidad. We took him for roti, we took him for doubles, we took him for mother-in-law, etc., etc. He will share with you, but he's here with us in Grenada as well. Welcome, MK. Go ahead, please. Shakir, can you unmute, please? Go ahead.
Thank you, Shalima. I'm so excited to be on this trip and to be on your program with you for the first time and meeting all the people who make this happen. My excitement is heightened by the fact that to see the Indian diaspora that stretches from the southernmost tip of Africa to the northernmost tip of Latin America, to the South China Sea, through the Pacific Islands. It's fascinating that this is the world's largest diaspora. And I thought that it's interesting for every person who was part of that 19th century indentured system to know exactly what the other part of that diaspora looks like. And I think that this is the remarkable strength of your program, for which I've come all the way from England. And I thought I will just quickly run through these slides, so beautifully captured by all those who spoke before me. And I'll run through that quickly and then give you my actual takes on it. So here we are, Caribbean Airlines getting into the island and looking at it and wondering, good Lord, how did any of our ancestors ever come this way and for what? We move on quickly and we see at the airport individuals who have Indian background. In the middle, we have Cullen, Natu, we have Lina, Panju, was it? Lassi. So,
this is Panju.
And this is Keda Panju. So these are people who have ancestors who were Indians. And they're conscious of their identity. They are searching for it and they're embracing it. So that immediately caught me with great interest. As we move forward, you've heard a lot about the Indian Independence Day being celebrated. And I thought the lady who danced there was from New Delhi. I said, my God, they do send good dancers to this place. And when I asked her, her name is Selena and she's from Trinidad. And I said, oh my God, you could compete in India. So that again was another epiphany for me. As we moved on, we began to see members of the Grenadian government at the function itself, the Indian representatives there at that function. And then we moved very fast. I told you, Selena was presented a dance item. We saw Salim Rahman. He's in the Senate, in the government. His father, he comes from a Muslim background. We have Kumar Mahabir from a Hindu background. But here in Grenada, far of Grenada, we got people from right across the spectrum of Indian culture and society for being here for over 100 years. We begin to see that Grenada looks like very much in the Scottish idiom. It's not an Indian city. It's not the normal Caribbean city, but it looks like a piece of England in the Caribbean. And the names are all of English generals and a very, very English atmosphere. But look at the beauty of the island, and I think Sukhdev mentioned that to you, that it is really a paradise. And I've seen scenes like this in East Africa. I've seen parts of it like in Durban. I've seen some parts in Penang in Malaysia. And here I come to the Caribbean and I say, wow, what a beautiful place it is. And then, of course, they're mentioning nutmeg, one of the products of the island. It's one of the world's leading nutmeg producers, and showing us how the processes were all developed and how they get now marketed. We see, and this is very interesting. Here is a man that nobody in this part of the world has ever met. One of the best schools that were put up in this island was put up by the Indian community, the Methodist College, Women's College. And it's competing beautifully, as Dr. Mahabir had mentioned one time. And what do we see here? Whose bust do we see as a testimony to the Indian respect for entrepreneurialism, but also for education? That you see the bust of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. One wonders why Gandhi, in a place like this, where Indians are 2% of the population. It's the values that he taught, that the power of the values of ethics, of accountability, of hard work, of being the change that you want to see, that the Indians have brought to the vibrance of all these islands. And so Mahatma Gandhi looms very large in all these areas for us to reflect. what was it that he taught to us and to our ancestors, to our parents, when they came this way and when he was fighting for their rights. We see again, I mentioned that Mahatma Gandhi's bust there, and we have people in the Caribbean who are very proud of their heritage from India. Now, this is Belmont Estate, and this captured my heart very much because it reminds me of a very interesting dimension of getting out of a grievance rhetoric and not letting the past enslave you, where this was a slave point where all the indentured Indians came. And Shadell has converted what was a slave post into regenerating agribusiness. Now, this is where the Indian diaspora would be very interested on the potential of producing organic goods and also using areas that were once part of the indentured enslavement into pockets of hope. I've seen this happening in 2 or 3 places. It's happening in Canada with the school system, where the schools where 150,000 Inuits and Métis and about Aboriginal people were culturally abused by the schools, by the church schools. And in that context, the buildings were not destroyed. The buildings were used for centers of learning so people can know what happened. And as a Canadian, I feel a sense of great pride that if Canada has that blot on the schools of what the church did, the balance is what the Presbyterians did, and they were Canadians, and the Indian community feels terribly proud that they came to us and they taught us education. If they hadn't come here, we wouldn't have got the education. So there's a balance, really, when you see that. And as Pandit Rup Nareen so beautifully showed, he sang a Bhojpuri piece in the church. And to say that, look, originally when these people came, when the indentured laborers came, the mission sent people to learn Bhojpuri, and the hymns were taught in the schools so that the Hindus could come into the system. Are we okay? Are we moving okay? Shalina, we nearly finished the chocolate factory that everybody has spoken about, the processed chocolates, and then we go to actual organic chocolates in the marketplace. Shadil herself, very proud of her own background. Interestingly, her name is Shadil Naik Comte. 3 cultures that she embodies in a person. There are many Naikas in South Africa. They may come from the same tribe. The bell that you spoke about, this is a slave bell that's about 300 years, 400 years old. The masjid we went to, meeting Muslims from different parts of the world, going to the home of people who do puja at their home and have maintained the religious tradition, with the Pandit there who gave us a sermon at that place. And then, of course,
MK, excuse me, MK.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
We have some time.
Let me go to the last point now.
Take your time.
Oh, okay. Good.
We have time.
Sorry, I'm so happy.
No, I didn't want you to rush through.
Okay, well, I was just going to mention here today that here is the Indian representative in Grenada. And here again, we have him speaking to Shahid Muhammad, who I'm going to speak about in a minute's time of what I'm going to take away from this particular program. And then we have Dolly Singh, a very popular person in the musical firmament in terms of classical Indian songs, am I right? So it's basically not classical devotional songs of India, who came also to meet us and to sing at her age was remarkable. But here we see Shadil speaking about how, and she's an attorney, very outstanding attorney, but has converted all this past of what could be seen as pain into hope, where the children of Afro-Indian marriages are now reclaiming their culture and their heritage in the context. And then we have Mr. Ashok, who is running a place here with Indian food, Indian groceries. And I thought about my childhood. When I came to Nairobi, the first thing my mother said, is there an Indian grocer around? Because she wanted to buy a jeera and a dana and a masala and everything. So that's the first thing that an Indian family looks for anywhere in the world they go to, so they know they'll have food on the table. There is then JD. JD has the most beautiful voice, and she said she doesn't know the pronunciation of Indian words, but she sang that little piece in Indian. And I said, JD, you are a bridge. I said, you are a bridge. Capture the beauty, your beautiful voice, and let children across the world know that you are proud of the two heritages you have. You have a heritage of India, and you have a heritage of Africa. That is a beautiful combination. So we saw that in the island. Again, you saw a large group of people there. Now, I'm the only one from Africa, so I claim 2 credits for coming here. I'm a South African and I'm a Kenyan. So I have 2. And plus I'm a Canadian, so I have a 3rd one. And I live in Britain, so I have the 4th. But the interesting few points that I think I want to leave you with, and do we have another 4 minutes to Shalina?
Yes.
I thought what I found very fascinating is the extent of the diaspora. Here you are in the Caribbean, you are 1 million people. Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad, and then all the little islands, few thousand. You're a very big diaspora. You're a much bigger diaspora than we were at the time when Idi Amin expelled the Indians. But there's a diaspora this size or bigger in South Africa. There's a diaspora this size or bigger in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia. And I think this is important what you're doing, Kumar and Shalima and Shakira, that the diasporic Indians should come to these groupings, to these meetings, because these are not going onto what you call when you get onto the boat and you go for a big ride on the Alaskan thing. They are not. This is not a cruise. This is an educational experience. This is a program I would come for, even if I had to sleep on the floor, because I've met such wonderful people who embody an experience of the last 50, 60 years, and they carry with them the value system of our ancestors who left India 150 years ago. And had it not been for them, India would not have got its independence, because Mahatma Gandhi used the indentured laborers as their case to fight for freedom. So there is a question of cultural identity. How do we embrace or protect our cultural identity? Because the challenges are not only on the race divide, there's the challenge also of globalization, of internet, social media. There's a political challenge, there's an economic challenge, but we are resilient. This is the resilience we need to capture as people who have survived. The diaspora is plural. And what the Indian presence in the Caribbean has shown, that we have a pluralistic dimension to capture. The third takeaway for me as an Indian from Africa and 2 countries was to capture that moment for us to say in our narrative that how did Mahatma Gandhi's universal philosophy contribute to the emancipation, political emancipation of Africa? And very little did I know at that time that it was Trinidadian Black thinkers who influenced people like Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah, Kaunda, Peter Abrams, Hastings Banda. All of them followed Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy for the political freedom of Africa. So the universal values of Gandhi gets transmitted to African leaders in 1945 through African thinkers, George Padmore, C.L.R. James. But I was not aware that in 1901 or 1903, there was a lawyer from Trinidad in Cape Town, of whom Mahatma Gandhi writes in his Indian opinion in November 1903, Henry Sylvester Williams. None of us knew this. We didn't know it here. people in South Africa, I'm not sure if they know that. So those connections come back. And then what about Indians' contribution? People like Rudranath Kapildeo. I mean, his contribution to quantum physics has been a global phenomenon. What about people like V.S. Naipaul? What about Indians who contributed in Guyana, Indians who contributed in Trinidad, Indians who contributed in Suriname? This is what our children need to capture, to be able to be proud of our heritage, of who we are and where we belong. So that was very critical for me to capture. For me, it was very happy to see an Indian couple from a Dutch colony, because I was in South Africa in a Dutch colony. And there was I seeing the Pandays from Suriname and asking the question of how did decolonization affect you under a Dutch government as opposed to a British government. Then, of course, we have Indian music. I had the great fortune of talking to your father, Papi. And I began to see that we shared Avara, Andaz, Baiju Baura, Anmol Gari, Jugnu, Andaz, Dard. Every song that I remembered from childhood, he could sing it. So that to me was an interesting dimension to see how India has remained as part of the culture, despite all the challenges we have spoken about. Good opportunities to speak to a person like Zain Rahman, who's brought his education back to the country. A good time to speak to Indian women here, to see how do you embrace this whole new dimension in the context of a new culture so far away from India. So my takeaway at the end would be that I didn't even know all this they're talking about if it wasn't for the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. I mean, you gave me the task to speak about this, and at the end, by inviting me to give the memorial lecture at the Mahatma Gandhi Cultural Center, I found a connection between our dimensions of culture and history, which has a dimension with Africa, a dimension with an island like Trinidad, and a dimension of connection with Africa's independence movement. And I think going forward, we need to capture this with all the countries where Indians, overseas Indians today have settled, right from Fiji, Mauritius, Guyana, Suriname, Malawi, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Namibia, Botswana, I think Madagascar, Malaysia. I think we are on a journey. I would tell people in the diaspora of Indians, don't go for a cruise, join this group, because you will find that in a week, you will learn more than what you would have done if you went to a university doing diasporic studies for a year. And I want to say that I would encourage people from Africa, I would encourage businessmen from Africa to come here and to imbibe principles like Satyav's mentioned, Satyav mentioned, that we can have so much potential. With those words, I will stop in case anybody has a question.
MK, I want to thank you very, very much. You've given quite an analytical presentation. And for the members of the audience, you got an excellent economical view from Satsup there. We've gotten an excellent sociological perspective, sociological and anthropological from MK. And you've gotten also wonderful cultural presentations here. So if you have any questions at this point in time, feel free to raise your hand. Or if you would like to even make a comment, we would love to have you. Mr. Moti Suklal, I want to thank you very much. Mr. Suklal is saying excellent presentations, congratulations, and deep appreciation to all the contributors. So wonderful, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Jay? How can we end the program without asking Jay to make a comment? Thank you, Mr. Suklal. Okay, so Jay.
Okay, as usual. Thank you very much, MK. You know, you carried my thoughts and brought it to a wonderful end. And looking at everything around what you enjoyed, I miss it a lot. I've been to Grenada just on a cruise, but just saw the entrance and then that was it. But seeing the spices, seeing all the stuff that you showed, brought back a lot of memories when I grew up in South Africa and what we have. So South Africa is an embodiment of whatever you have in Grenada, in Trinidad, in Suriname, and in the whole Caribbean islands. So remember, our ancestors brought these goodies with them in their parcels that they carried on those ships, and then produced it in the islands, in the different parts of Africa, in different parts of South Asia. So thank you very much, Kumar, Shalima, Shakira, and the team for a wonderful trip down memory lane for me and knowledge about the Caribbean, more than what I know, and filled to the brim. And now it's encouraging me to go on the next trip. I don't know where you're going to go. I wouldn't go to South Africa if I were me, but Guyana, yes. But as far as the planning is concerned, that's left to you. Thank
We'll
you.
keep that in mind. We'll keep it in mind, Jay. Thank you very much. You're on one end calling for South Africa, and we have Mr. Moti Suklal on the other end calling for Guyana, and I'm seeing Chan, who's from Fiji, hoping for Guyana, and we have MK
I'll
here.
go to Fiji. I'll go to Fiji.
So it's very difficult. We have so many competing interests, and of course the logistics and everything have to work. So there's competition now. Kogi, I see you. I see you.
Kogi, no.
Kogi is pushing it. Okay, but before we take Rehanna, before we take your comment, I want to introduce you to Dr. Selina Ramdani. She is the PRO for the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation. She's Trini, by the way, and she's over here in Grenada, so we are very happy to reclaim her. Yet she's here in Grenada, and she's doing a fantastic job with the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation. And I invite her to please share with you everything that she can about her experience here as a person of Indian descent in Grenada, and also having met us on the tour. Welcome, Selina.
Thank you very much for that. Good afternoon, everyone. For all of you again, my name is Selina. I have been here in Grenada for November will make it 3 years since I've been here. So I've been here almost 3 years now. And Grenada is really, really special. It is home to me here. And if I had not moved to Grenada, I would not have been able to appreciate my culture the way that I do now. I definitely have more respect, more reverence. I am more involved in the Indian culture, in the Indian community and diaspora here in Grenada as opposed to I was in Trinidad. So back in Trinidad, I used to dance as well. And then I brought it across here, and I didn't intend for it to take off the way that it did, but I'm so happy that it did. So I'm definitely more involved here in Grenada, in the diaspora, bringing the culture alive, bringing it back to an extent, because in some parts of Grenada, it wasn't there to begin with, or it's almost invisible, but it's definitely much more visible now. And I'm very happy to have the ICC here. I'm very happy to have met all of you. I'm so glad it worked out that way, especially at the flag raising ceremony. To have it's just again to see the way that the culture has impacted everyone differently. in Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname, in Africa, Grenada. All right. I'm very happy that it's brought us all together. So I really, really want to say thank you all to the ICC for coming here, for choosing Grenada as your third destination. I definitely hope to see you all again soon. And maybe I'll even join you all on your fourth. Yes. I would just like to say that, Grenada, even though Grenada is small and the Indian community is even smaller, it definitely plays a big role. As you would see, Belmont Estate, the different businesses here. We may be small, but we're mighty. So, again, it's just my little piece. I just wanted to say thank you all very much. And as well as I know you all would have met Lena. She's the president of the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation. Right, I'm now the PRO. So with IGHF, we are trying to do on a smaller scale what the ICC is trying to do. Just trying to bring attention to Indo-Grenadian heritage and trying to showcase what it means to be Indo-Grenadian, or what it means to have Indian roots, essentially, whether it be from Grenada, Trinidad, and any other place. And it's been a pleasure as well to be part of the IGHF. So again, thank you all so much for coming. I really, really am glad to have met all of you. I've new friends now, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you,
Yes.
Selena. So you are now part of the ICC Parivar.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very
Welcome.
much.
And on behalf of all of us on the ICC team, as well as the entire group here, I want to say a very, very special thank you to you, as well as the other members of the IGHF, for assisting us in the manner in which you have in setting up that wonderful tour for us of the Belmont Estate and all the Indo-Grenadian villages. It was no mean feat, and Lena was absolutely wonderful. So was Kellen and Keda. Absolutely wonderful.
Yes, a lot of work went into that one. There's even more people behind the scenes working on it. So I'll definitely pass it on, because it was a lot of work, and I'm so glad it worked out well for you all.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank
Of
you.
course.
So we'll be in touch, Selena. Dr. Arnold Thomas. Dr. Arnold Thomas, do you have a question or a comment?
Just, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a little comment that there's a very strong connection between the Indians of St. Vincent and Grenadines and Grenada. Why? Because in 1865, that ship came from India with over 500 Indians, wrecked off Barbados. Over 500 Indians, half of those were destined for St. Vincent and half for Grenada. So I happen to be one of the descendants of those people.
Drop
In
half
fact,
there.
my father was born on the ship that came from Grenada. And those of us who are descendants of those people from that wreckage did very well in St. Vincent. But from my research, those Indians who survived and went off to Grenada did not do so well. And those people who are involved in the history of Indians in Grenada can tell us exactly what happened to over a lot of those people who went on a particular estate in Grenada, and they suffered a lot. So we know that's part of our connection. And it happened when our indentureship ended in St. Vincent back in the 1890s. A lot of incentives went off to Grenada. So we have that connection. So we are very, very, very close indeed.
We really appreciate it, Dr. Thomas. It's always important I'm sure a lot of people didn't know this connection, and it's so important to have people like yourself with the knowledge that you have to be able to be here with us to share. And I know that you are eagerly anticipating the tour coming to St. Vincent. Yes, sir, it is going to come. Perhaps not next year, maybe the year after that. So you have about 2 years to plan. Thank you very much. I
Thank
wish you
you.
were here. It's not so far away.
Yeah, well, I was there, as you know, when we had the conference in Grenada in 2016.
2016.
Yep.
Yes.
So we share a lot.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you very much. So sing along to this one. We're going to end today's program now, and I want to say thank you very much to all of our wonderful speakers, to our participants, and to you, members of the audience. Thank you so much. We're going to end with a lovely medley, and I'll ask Daryl to bring that now. This is what our girls do sometimes, and we'll be doing this later this evening.
गोरा कागज का ये मन मेरा लिख लिया नाम इस पे तेरा गोरा कागज का ये मन मेरा लिख लिया नाम इस पे तेरा सुना आंगन का जीवन मेरा बस गया प्यार से तेरा जो वादा किया वो निभाना पड़ेगा रोके समाना चाहे रोके खुदाई हमको आना पड़ेगा जो वादा किया वो निभाना पड़ेगा निभाना पड़ेगा ये मेरा प्रेम पत्र पढ़कर ये तुम नाराज ना होगा कि तुम मेरी जिंदगी हो कि तुम मेरी बंदगी हो ये मेरा प्रेम पत्र पढ़कर कि तुम नाराज ना होगा कि तुम मेरी जिंदगी हो कि तुम मेरी बंदगी हो सावन का महीना पवन करे शोर दिहर जो में ऐसे जैसे बनमाना चे मोर सावन का महीना पवन करे शोर जियर झूमे ऐसे जैसे बनवाना चे मोर जाने वाले दुल्हन खुशी खुशी जाना लेकिन एक नसाना था जाके निभाना हम दुखियों को भूल जाना ना भूल न जाना जाने वाले दुल्हन खुशी खुशी जाना लेकिन एक नसाना था जाके निभाना हमें दुखियों को भूल जाना ना भूल न जाना
Shakir, over to you. Thank you, girls. Wonderful.
Thank you, Shaloma, and thank you all for taking the time to participate and attend. And as we said earlier, this public meeting is being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, and you can feel free to contact the ICC to publish your books. Remember that we are kindly asking for your suggestions. If you give a donation, your name will be placed on a poster and all our promotional materials, and you can contact Dr. Mahabir for details. Our topic next Sunday will be sports heroes in the Indian diaspora. So don't miss that one. We want to thank the advisory and planning team led by Dr. Kumar Mahabir, to our IT consultant, Daryl Grantham and Navin Mangal, who has been advertising on recording the program. advising, sorry, on recording the program, which will be uploaded to our website and YouTube permanently for posterity. And thanks to Daryl again for designing the poster, and Ravin Ram Singh for doing the social media marketing, and Miriam Mohammed for producing our TikTok videos. So please visit, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see all our past recordings. I am Shakira Mohammed from Trinidad and Tobago saying goodbye. May God bless you all. Dhanyabad.
Oh, beautiful.
So thanks to all of you. We are